Inside the Arena is presented by Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, Seattle's closest sportsbook.
Welcome to Inside the Arena, your source for everything off the ice, off the court, and outside the field of play. With your hosts, KOMO Sports Director Niko and KOMO Senior Reporter Chris Daniels.
62, like Maris and Mantle.
And Cal Raleigh by the end of September.
Yes. Maybe he will.
Well, it's going to be tough. But if there's anybody who can do it, it's Cal. But, everybody who's looking at he had 38 before the break. It's not quite that easy. So, yeah. But Cal's got a great approach. We'll see if he does it.
We'll see if he does it. This week, we have a special episode, 62 here, of Inside the Arena to try and get people up to speed, really, about what we've been doing on a weekly basis. If they haven't been smashing that like button, as the kids like to say, or subscribing, some of the interviews that we've done over the past year. In this episode, Vin Baker, the former Sonic, talks about sobriety and what he's planning on doing off the court in Milwaukee and around the country. Tod Leiweke, we talked with him after the death of David Bonderman, who is widely credited with not only bringing the Seattle Kraken to the city, but also the building of Climate Pledge Arena. And then you did a great interview with Julio Rodriguez on philanthropy and why philanthropy is important to him. And there's been a lot of interesting stuff in the world of Julio this year as well.
What I like about this is the idea that you can look at some of these interviews and be really excited about all aspects of Seattle sports, past legends, current superstars, the people that come here and draw huge crowds, and the people that are just making this sports scene work behind the scenes, even like last week's interview with Beth. So it's really a special thing to see, and that's why this episode's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's get to it. Vin Baker. So let's get into it in terms of how you went on this recovery journey, how that is connected to your time in Seattle, how it's connected even to Starbucks. When did you realize that in your playing career that hey, something isn't right here and something needs to be corrected?
Yeah, probably in my second year, Chris, I started to experience the alcoholism, the addiction to alcohol, and like anybody else, I mean, coming off of being a 4-time NBA All-Star and 2-time All-NBA, like anybody else though with this disease, it doesn't discriminate. And I struggled with it mightily in my tenure there in Seattle, unfortunately. And, like any person who struggles with the disease, denial, didn't want to believe it, was too embarrassed to talk about it. It obviously affected the way I played, the way I conducted myself on the court as a professional athlete, but I really struggled off the court. But by the grace of God, over the years, after leaving Seattle, I was introduced to the blessing of sobriety. And so I've enjoyed 15 years of sobriety. But again, it was, 15 years of sobriety as of April 17th, and just continue to take it one day at a time. But that was a very tough point in my life, a dark point in my life, just because I've become addicted to alcohol. And I think I struggled with reaching out and being honest and being transparent about where I was in my life. It took me years and years and years to get to a point where I could be honest. I literally was at a point where if I wasn't honest and transparent about where I was going to physically die.
And I know a lot of Sonics fans don't hold Howard Schultz in high regard, but Starbucks and Howard Schultz came into play at a certain point, did they not? Yeah,
Howard, once I got sober, I think it was my first year of sobriety, I reached out to Howard, and just because he had been a friend to me while I was in Seattle, really monitoring my situation, even when I was traded to Boston, really caring about the person, not just the basketball player. And so I reached out to him, and Howard and the family, the Schultz family, really helped me get back on track. My ministry started with his help. And then certainly the time I spent at Starbucks kind of getting my life back on track and working, something that I wanted to do. I was living life on life's terms, and I was so grateful to have the gift and blessing of sobriety. And Howard and his family, Jordan, Sherry, the whole family played a tremendous part of me getting back on the right track.
How do you take this with you and decide I want to help other people and open a sobriety center in Wisconsin?
I kept getting better day by day, year by year. Got the opportunity to come back here and work for the Bucks, a great organization. Peter Fagan, John Horst, the ownership group here gave me a chance, took a chance on me to come back and do pre and post game. And then I went to the sideline. It started to happen pretty fast. My first year of doing TV, I went to the sidelines, and I really never looked back as far as the coaching part. Where the center came in, I had my partners, Charles Ray and Michael Erico, reached out to me and said, there's an opportunity for you. Would you be interested in opening a center? And I was obviously ecstatic about the opportunity. I had done all the stories. I had written a book about it. So the next steps for me was to see how I could help the community overcome the same obstacle I'd overcome. And so myself, Charles, and Michael, we partnered and, reached out to some wonderful people who helped us from the financial side. And we opened this 16,000 square foot building here in Milwaukee that's, as of now, we opened it last year, April 4th. And as of now, we've served 150 patients here in the city of Milwaukee. So it's my day job is coaching. My passion is recovery. And as you know, Chris, all of us are affected by addiction in some way or another, and certainly mental health. We all have family members, friends, somebody who's suffered from that. So I am determined, obviously based on my testimony and story, to help as many people as I can get sober.
You're there almost every day, if not every week, and at the center, and it truly is your passion.
Yeah, because what happens, Chris, is one thing that I lost in when I was going through what I was going through. You lose hope, and people underestimate how big hope is in people's lives. I don't care if it's addiction or anything. And so what I do, I'm not the expert on the medical side. I do know a lot about the medical side, but what I do at my center is I'm able to provide my testimony, and I'm able to provide hope. So when I go in, the patients are pretty excited because they're like, they obviously know me from the Bucks. I'm Coach Baker, not Vin Baker. They know me from Coach Baker, and they know my story, and it provides hope. And I've had some wonderful hugs and wonderful stories told. I walked in last week and I met a young man who was waiting in the lobby, and I went out to meet him. He had just rescued his mom from a burning building, and he was going through something at the time and rescued his mom from a burning building. And just, those type of stories and testimonies and moments for me are incredible. It makes everything worth it when I have those kind of encounters.
And you told me you'd like to expand your horizons, perhaps open one of these recovery centers in Seattle. What can you tell me about that?
It's my passion. The two cities that I played the most in, Milwaukee, and I have one here obviously now, and I want to open a center in Seattle. Interestingly enough, Seattle is the place I want to go next because that's where, my issue started. And I just want to give, pay it forward, give back to the community. Basketball is one thing, Chris, and the Sonics will be back soon. I had a great experience in the city of Seattle, but also had a very dark moment in my life in the city of Seattle. And I want to share what God has given me, which is sobriety, the ability to combat sobriety through therapy, through medication. I want to bring that back to the city where I struggled, where the struggle started. I think the opportunity is there. Just like people know me here in the city of Milwaukee from being drafted here and playing here 4 years, I'm certainly known in Seattle. So I want to bring this beautiful gift back of sobriety and help as many people as I can get sober and help as many families as I can.
Well, you mentioned off the top about plans for Greece. This is something that you've done now for how many years? Going to Greece for the summer? Yeah,
I am. I think I'm a common law resident. So I don't even know if that's a thing, but I've been there for the last 5 or 6 years. This will be my 6th year going.
But it pays off during the NBA year, right? In terms of spending that time with Giannis and working him out and doing it in a hot environment.
Yeah. One thing about him, Chris, is I'm very fortunate and blessed to have the opportunity to work with him, and he's the hardest working guy I've ever been around in the sport. He's very intentional and very serious about his career, and it's so interesting because after my career and what I went through, just to be around him and see and kind of live vicariously through him. He works. He's again one of the hardest working, if not the hardest worker in sports. I mean, last year we went from May 31st, literally when the season was over, working for him to get to qualify for the Olympics, go to the Olympics, and then get married in the same summer, and then come back and average 30, 13, and 6. So he's an amazing basketball player, hard worker, and an even more amazing human being. So it's great to be around him.
Well, Vin, again, congratulations on 15 years of sobriety. Congratulations on opening up the recovery center. We hope to see you soon here in Seattle again. Great story there from Vin Baker. It has been fun to see him get reconnected with Seattle and just the stuff he's now doing off the court.
Absolutely. No question about that.
And there was big news here in the last year with the death of David Bonderman. The Seattle Kraken did a lot around his death. His name is featured prominently around the team headquarters. He is a guy who put in a lot of money to make Climate Pledge Arena across the street be what it is today. And shortly after his death, Tod Leiweke, the longtime CEO of the Kraken, talked about his legacy. You'll hear that coming up.
Something big is happening at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, and it's smoke-free. Their brand new non-smoking gaming floor is now open. Experience a whole new atmosphere that's completely smoke-free. More comfort, same excitement. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Book now and experience the luxury that awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Book now for an unforgettable summer experience. Visit snowcasino.com.
Todd, how'd you hear the news this morning?
Oh, by way of a text message, but we had seen this coming for some number of days, and it's nonetheless startling when it finally happens. The finality of it sets in, and a few tears rolled down my cheeks, but I've composed myself, and onward we go.
Do people in this office know his legacy? I mean, it is right there on the front door when you walk in.
They do. I think, though, he's such a humble man that unless you actually work hard at sharing his legacy, he's not going to be the guy that ever said it. He never spoke first. He was such a gracious, incredible guy. But today's a day where you think about his legacy. And you think about his involvement here in Seattle and how he's loved this city for a long time. You look again at the photo of him as a guard at the Space Needle, and you realize that there was long connection. And when he left here, he went on an incredible journey that took him to Harvard, to the Middle East, where he learned to speak Arabic, to the Supreme Court, where he won a case, to one of the greatest investors. And later that same life, he came home. And he came back to the city, and he has forever impacted this city. And our best days are in front of us in part because of David Bonderman's belief in this town and the fans.
Why do you think he wanted to invest in Seattle during that period of time? That's 7-8 years ago now, but there was a question about the future of sports in this town and the future of the Seattle Center, and he decided to invest in this city. Why do you think he invested in this city?
Well, in many ways, it was a perfect David Bonderman move. Courage. He always went places where others didn't go, and that was the situation here. And yes, it required courage, but it required conviction of that courage. And he had conviction that this city deserved a world-class arena, deserved an NHL team, and deserved potentially a future home for the NBA. And those principles were at play every day here. His believing that this was right for the city and his conviction lives in this organization and always will.
And he invested at his alma mater, too, at the University of Washington. I mean, this was this was not just a Kraken and climate pledge thing for him. He was investing in the campus that he loved as well.
He did. He chaired the finance committee, which is a big job. It's a massive institution and arguably our greatest institution. But he also gave back. A defining moment in his life was he got a scholarship in his final year at Harvard, where he traveled to the Middle East, studied law there, learned to speak Arabic. He brought that same conviction, that same program back to the University of Washington, and 300 students over the course of his laying out that grant have now had the ability to travel and have those same kinds of moments in their life. And, you know, the movie It's a Wonderful Life talks about what if he hadn't been there. And I thought about that this morning. What if David Bonderman hadn't been here? How different all this would be. Would our arena situation have ever been solved? Would the Kraken have ever come? Would there ever have been an I in the logo, which was entirely his? We had world-class designers, and it took David Bonderman standing up at a meeting saying, try an I right there, that gave life to this brand. You know, I've been composed all day. I feel myself getting emotional. An amazing guy, and it was a privilege to serve for him. One of the greatest things he's given the city, and certainly given this organization, was the involvement of his daughter, Samantha. And she has proven to be a great owner. She's spent years now learning our business and getting up to speed, and she was a co-owner with Bondo. Today she becomes our governor. But today she has a heavy heart because she loved her dad. But she's a chip off the old block, and our future's bright. And the Bonderman family have been incredible stewards of this enterprise.
Do you think he's looking down on Seattle and happy with the legacy that he has left behind?
I think the world is a much better place on his departure than when he met it. I think he's impacted so many people, so many enterprises, but I think he's left an imprint on Seattle that'll be there for generations to come.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, and I didn't cry.
Okay, that's Tod Leiweke. Pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Julio Rodriguez, not so heavy. It's good to see him doing what he's been doing out in the community, and you had a chance to talk with him about.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a few months back, and it was just really special to connect with him. He asked me to be there, and I was thrilled to do so. You know, it's whether it's helping kids around here or down in Loma de Cabrera in the DR. The idea that, you know, he understands where he came from in sports, and he wants to help those next generation of kids have their best chance anyway to be the next Julio Rodriguez or the countless stars that have come from that country. So it's a really special thing. You know, listen, we often forget that Julio is still just 23. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 24, actually. Take that back. But, you know, you look at this, I had to think about that for a second, but you look at this and, gosh, to have that kind of maturity on top of being a superstar, that's what I love about Julio Rodriguez. I love his attributes on the field, but this is what makes him truly a special athlete. Here's that interview. First of all, it's good to see you again, man. Always good to see you, sir. Look at all this, right? What does it mean to the people of Seattle? They know what your foundation does, and they wanted to help out in this way.
I mean, it means the world, you know, like to know that, you know, they're so open and willing to support, you know, support this cause, you know, support a lot of people in need that this is going to get to, and, you know, just to see how much, if we get together, how much we can impact, like, other people's lives that are in need.
For Mariners fans that are watching this and may not know everything, because your foundation does do a lot, take me through what it does, the idea that you wanted to start with and how it does help kids. You really want to get into the game and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, I feel like everything is started, you know, where I come from. I come from Loma de Cabrera. You know, it's a place where we don't have all this. We don't have the access to a lot of equipment. So, and like, I feel like me knowing that and like kind of have to go through that, I feel like it's what motivated me to kind of give back, you know, give back to the people in sport and like help out different causes, you know, here in Seattle too. And like, let's say with this cause right now, like we're gonna be able to give so many different toys and baseball equipment to different people in needs, you know. We're gonna be able to, let's say in my hometown right now, we're rebuilding La Casa de la Cultura, that we're gonna do another event where we're gonna be gifting a lot of this baseball equipment, a lot of these toys. So it's something that I'm just, you know, like looking for the future and like other people that we can impact, because there's so many people in need. And I feel like me being in the position that I am, to be able to give back, I feel like that's huge for me because, I'm blessed. I'm grateful for all the opportunities I've had, but at the same time, I understand that there are people that are also in need, that people that I can reach my hand to, and I feel like that's something that I would do.
That's what I wanted to ask you next. You're just doing what you love. What does it mean to you that playing baseball gives you this platform, this opportunity to help so many?
I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome, man. That's something that I'm so grateful to. When I set out to play baseball, I was just doing the game I love, and I feel like going through the time, I'm in the position where now I can give back. Now I can help other people achieve their dreams, and whatever that might be. If it's baseball, if it's arts, if it's whatever it is that I can support somebody, I feel like I will do my best to be there, and like that's something that it makes me really happy, and that's something that aligns with who I am.
Absolutely. How are you doing this off season? How are you? It's a grind for you guys. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Obviously, we always have to take some time off and everything like that, and like try to take a little bit of slow, sometime with the family and friends. But we can never stay too far away from baseball. So training a little bit here and there, and looking forward for next year.
That's just it. How much does that motivate you to get out there and get where you want to be and everything like that?
Yeah, no, so much. And like just also seeing that the love that the city is showing me also motivated me even more, to be in top shape, to be doing the best that I can on the field, because I just know that, we're all together in this, just like kind of how we're having a great cause all together here, and just kind of motivates me to show up even more for them.
Yeah, that's just it too. We talked about, what do you try to do at this point in the year to get ready for a season like that?
I mean, just, get my body and mind in top shape. I feel like that everything starts there, getting my mind, my body right, and from there, just kind of keep building on and to be able to do my best next year.
Yeah, because we know you have a squad there. The confidence has to be so high for what you guys can do next year, right?
Yeah, and like I feel like we all love where we are right now. We have such a unique team in the way that we build, and I just feel like we're gonna be a tough team. We're gonna be a tough team, and I'm excited to see that.
It's hard to believe that it was only year 3 for you that just wrapped up. We were just talking off camera. My 3-year-old only wants to wear your jersey to preschool. I'm sure he's not alone in that. What does it mean to you in 3 short years? You've had the many more things to come, of course, but you've had the impact so far that you have had in 3 short years here in Seattle.
I'm excited. I'm so, like I said earlier, I'm so blessed and grateful to be able to, inspire and motivate so many people, and have little kids running around with my jersey. That's something that I've never really thought when I was in Loma de Cabrera, just like with a dream. And I feel like being able to see all those things, I feel it really fills me with a lot of joy, and motivates me to continue to keep going, to keep doing the right thing, to just keep motivating people and generations.
Julio Rodriguez, we can't wait to see you in March, my friend. So good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Julio Rodriguez. That was a great interview, and we should just point out that was also done before all the other stuff happened this year with the break-in at his house.
Right.
He, for all the criticism, it seems that he gets online and in the X sphere.
It's crazy.
He really has had a decent year when you consider not only what he's been doing away from the field, but everything else that he's had to deal with.
Think about that. If any of our houses were broken into, our significant others, our families were there, and then we suddenly had to go on the road to New York and wherever else Julio goes, like that I'm trying to go to the other side of the country for, right? You would be thinking about that. And yet, there are people that like to look at just box scores and criticize, and it's like easy. You don't see what he's doing out there in center field. And I would argue, the Mariners PR put out a stat out there. He's the first person ever in Major League history to have 15 homers and 20 stolen bases in their first 4 seasons. Nobody's ever done it before. And I remember I posted that, somebody's like, well, he's not living up to the contract. I'm like, he's doing stuff that's never been done before. The immediacy of social media. So I could go on a rant about this, but we have a lot of interviews to do. You hit the nail on the head. He's fought through a lot this year. And I would say, to the stats I just mentioned, he's still having a darn good season. And oh, by the way, as we just heard in that interview, he's one of the best people out there and does some really great things for his community back home and the community here in Seattle. And it's a cool thing with the Mariners. You see Cal doing similar stuff too. Some special guys there, no question.
All right, and special interviews this week, special interviews next week. Right now, David Lee.
You've been listening to Inside the Arena with Niko and Chris. Please subscribe on your favorite platform. Until next time.
Inside the Arena was presented by Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, Seattle's closest sports book.